Property is easy, right? You buy property and it just makes you money, right? There's no risk and nothing ever goes wrong, right? No! A lot can go wrong, and it often does. Let me take you through the things that we do for when the countless things that can and inevitably do go wrong goes wrong. For building, you need to make sure that your income is looked after. For that, you need property managers to look after the relationship between the landlord and the tenant. To make sure that the building is in good repair, you need a building manager to be there on a day-to-day and make sure that the flow, the tenants, everyone's happy, and when things break, that they get fixed. We've got someone whose main job it is to just fight with the different municipalities in South Africa. For one building with a monthly electricity cost of about 300,000 Rand a month, we once got a bill for 33 million Rand in electricity. So you need people to sort this out. Probably not a job that is as required in other countries, but here, that's a fact of life. You need to make sure that if the building burns down, that the insurance pays out. And insurance is all great and well until there's a massive claim, and then you'll see how they look for loopholes. So you need to make sure you close all of them. For that, you need a facilities and risk manager to make sure that you tick all the boxes needed to be in proper insurance. And a lot of work goes into it because regulations change over time. Each one of our properties are in its own property holding companies. We do this so that each investment is its own thing with its own shareholders, investors, financing. But that also means it needs its own bank account, financial statements, tax returns, payments process, filing system, and all of that. So you need a finance team to make sure that all of that happens like it's supposed to. We've got a couple CAs to make sure everything runs smoothly, or that the problems that arise get solved. A very large part of the secret sauce of what makes property fantastic is using leverage from the banks. So your relationship with the banks are of utmost importance. I've personally spent a lot of time to create good relationships with them and understand what it is that they need so that you can know how to put a deal together that can be executed and get a good interest rate, because ultimately that just hits your bottom line. You also need to make sure that you got the right software to get the job done. We looked and there wasn't anything that quite suited our needs, especially with the different property holding companies. So we ended up putting a developer team together and building the software ourselves. This next one is, I can't overstate how important it is, and it's finding the right suppliers to work with that you can trust. Everyone should be able to make money, but sometimes you get some fly-by-nights that don't focus on delivering the service and having what's actually required delivered. So in the past, just some frogs, but you find your Prince Charming and you stick with them. So your relationships with suppliers are incredibly important. You can also contract out a lot of these responsibilities to other people. We've seen that it's better to keep it in-house, where as Investicore we have shareholding in each propco, and when there's a vacancy or a problem that is costing money, we're very motivated to fix it. Whereas if you're paying a third-party property or asset manager to solve the problems, they're not necessarily lying awake at night and worrying about it. So personal experience, that's what really worked for us. So you can do a lot of this yourself, especially if the portfolio is small enough and you've got the know-how. It's just you don't want to make a mistake because mistakes in property are very expensive. So there's a couple of things that I think go into making a good, effective property portfolio. Adidas. As always, this is not financial advice. These are some of my thoughts from my experience. If any of this is useful to you, great. If not, cool. Lekker naweek.